What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. This is a very special one because we just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I just want to thank you guys all for your support, for everything you've done on my road. And now the next goal is 2,000, given that we've been just getting a lot of content out and people have been loving it too. So thank you guys for all of your positive comments on everything. And we've got a big few weeks coming up because the season is upon us. It's coming soon. We're now in mid to late August with the preseason starting. I think probably late September, early October, training camp, all that stuff. So the finalized roster is upon us very, very, very soon. And as a result, we're going to be talking about some players over this next week. And we're going to talk about season expectations for this upcoming season, some information about last year, how they did, how we think they're going to do, and some other stuff like that. So it's going to be a super fun few weeks here. And today's the first episode, which is the season expectations for Pascal Siakam. So let's get right into it, guys. Let's go. There's a lot of speculation that Pascal Siakam could end up being traded before the start of the season. But recently, Masai Ujiri put out a report via Sam Amick that made it sound like he made it clear that his intention to Pascal Siakam is that he's going to stay on the team, that he's not going to be traded. And for Toronto, as a result, that seems like he's going to be their go-to scorer for them once again. This is obviously all assuming he doesn't get traded. If he does, none of this really means anything, to be honest. But, you know, for Toronto, this guy's going to be their go-to scorer, right? He's Pascal Siakam after all. He averaged almost 21.5 points per game last year. And he has all the tools to be great this season. The one thing that does concern me is the shoulder recovery from his torn labrum in his left shoulder. He had surgery. He got injured on May 8th, got surgery during the offseason, and he is expected to return in early to mid-November. And who knows where that timeline ends up shifting given his recovery process. So we could see Pascal Siakam miss, 10, 15 games at the beginning of the season. And that's just going to lead to a lot of not only animosity from the fans thinking, where's Pascal? Why isn't he here? But also there's this stigma and concern that he's not going to be 100% when he returns. So as a result, I think we could see him playing himself back into shape. We could see another slow start for Pascal Siakam on the season. And I feel like there's going to be nothing super flashy in the first 15 games or so that we see him. We're likely going to see him on a minutes restriction. And as a result, we're going to see a lot of Scottie Barnes early in the season, playing at that 4 spot and really getting a lot of opportunity to grow early in the NBA before people catch on to his play style and some of that other stuff. He'll just get a lot of time. And I think as a result, we'll talk more about Scottie Barnes in a later episode. But I think he's going to have a great season. Especially because he's just going to start the season off with not only low expectations, but you know what? We're just going to stop talking about Scottie Barnes. The question with Pascal Siakam is whether or not he can get back to his 2019-2020 self. Right? That's a huge question for me because we saw how good he was that year. And let's just look at the stats. Right? We're going to pull it up here. In 2019-2020, he averaged almost 23 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He shot 45% from the field, 79% from the free throw line. But the most impressive part here is the 36% from 3. Right? Because now when we look at his season from 2020 to 2021, you see very similar statistical outputs. You see 21.5 points per game, which is surprisingly high considering how he started the season. 7 boards, more assists, which is a sign that he's a better passer. And as we saw, he is a better passer with the ball in his hands. He's able to distribute it better for guys. And this is actually a big leap for Pascal, a whole assist more per game. In over 60 games, that's like 60 extra assists. This guy's dishing the ball. He's doing it effectively. And similar field goal percentage, higher free throw percentage, which is a sign that his mechanics could be improving, considering that he was shooting more free throws on the season this year in 2020-21, which makes sense because he's attacking the paint a lot more. But the three-point shot dipping is a concern, especially because As we know, Scottie Barnes is a big part of Toronto's future. He's a player they could see becoming a superstar. which means these two long-term may not be able to play together, right? This season, sure, they could play together. Who knows how one of their mechanics could change? Who knows if Pascal Siakam shoots 36% next year? Then we're fine, right? Like, anything could switch. Scotty Barnes could end up improving over the next 2 years and similarly could be shooting in that mid to late, well, let's say mid-30 range, right? Something actually realistic. And I think when you look at all the stats, you can see the growth of Pascal Siakam in the making. His three-point shot dropped a lot, like I said, from last year. And he's hesitated to shoot them more often this season, right? But overall, I do think that we saw a jump in his free throw percentage, which is a sign that his jumper could be improving. And in April, in those 8 games, he had a few monster games and finished with 23.5 points, 23.3 points to be exact, on pretty efficient shooting. And as a result, there is a lot of good things to take away from Pascal Siakam's season. Like I said, the one concern being the shoulder injury that could lead to a slow start, and overall that could impact his statistical output on the season. Obviously, it's only, probably a 10-game, 15-game stretch out of potentially 60 games he could play considering his injury. But I think for Pascal Siakam, my finalized prediction, and I've actually changed it up until just now because of the shoulder stuff and thinking potentially he could end up, having a little bit of a lay when he comes in and a little delay into an efficient season. I do think that he still does have a great season. And I think overall, he's going to be one of those players that his season isn't going to be that impacted by Kyle Lowry leaving. He was already the number one option. And I do think that a lot of what Kyle Lowry got is going to be given to Fred VanVleet in terms of handling the ball, as well as Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., some of these younger guys who are on the come up, and especially the bench when we get there. But my finalized predictions are 22 points per game, which is just a little bit higher than last year, 7 boards, 5 assists, so he continues to distribute the ball at a high level. He shot 45% the last 2 seasons, so there's no reason to think that doesn't change. 35% from 3, 83% from the free throw line. I assume that his mechanics stay the same, if not better. And I think that he improves back to his all-star form and has a good bounce-back season. I don't think he makes the all-star team, though, because I have a feeling that because of those missed 15 games, I don't think that's going to be enough for him prior to the all-star break to actually get an all-star nod. And I'm not really sure yet whether or not I think someone on the Raptors is going to be an all-star. It's super dependent on how good their team is in terms of record, but that's going to be a later episode. We're going to talk about that. But that's just the Pascal Siakam prediction. Like I said, I'm expecting a pretty efficient season. High hopes for him that he comes back from his shoulder. We give him a little time, and then from there he'll be back to what we've seen in the past. I do think that he does regress back to the mean for his three-point shot. And when I say regress, I actually mean improve back to the mean of his three-point shot and shoot somewhere near 34, 35%. Given that he's shown it before and was an improved three-point shooter in 2018-19 as well, I do think that overall his shot will come back, and he's a hard worker. I expect him to have that type of recovery back in his game, and he's the type of guy who's going to prove it. So that's my Pascal Siakam prediction. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether or not Pascal Siakam's going to have a good season, bad season, so on and so forth. Thank you for listening once again. If you haven't already, check out my Instagram. We just put up a jersey giveaway for 1,000 subs on YouTube. So there's a jersey out there to be won. So go on, check out the caption for the rules. Tell your friends. I would appreciate it. It helps me grow. Helps you guys because I love giving back to the community and all you guys. I've done multiple jersey giveaways. You can check my page to see the results. So thanks for listening once again, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out, everybody.